Hello, TELUS STORYHIVE.
One, two, two. Hi guys, my name is Andrew, and I'm sitting here today with Rick Moore. Rick is a fantastic guitar player, and we're going to do an interview with him to hear a little bit about Rick and to have Rick tell his story a little bit. Rick, tell me a little bit about yourself, just to start off with.
Well, I've been interested in music probably since I was 5 or 6 years old.
So you started young.
I started pretty young, that's for sure. Yeah, I always had an interest. My mom used to be a member of the Columbia Record Club.
Oh,
So,
cool.
so every month or every whatever, she would receive a new record. It was a jazz record or some kind of a show record and show tunes record. And so I got some early listening for sure. And her dad he was a band leader back in the 40s out at East Country of Alberta in Alex, and he had a band that it was called the Glorians. So he was the band leader and the arranger and so on. And every Christmas he'd come by our house and we'd get to listen to him play on the piano. He was like an old time stride kind of piano player. And so I think I absorbed a fair bit of music just from listening to a lot of those old classics from the 30s to the 50s that he used to play.
So music is kind of baked into your DNA, like you grew up around it, your family was involved with it, and that must have had a like very powerful impression on you as a youngster.
Oh, I think so, for sure. Yeah, no, I carried that forward. And when I was about 12, I got my first guitar. It was like an old Western kind of a guitar from an old uncle of mine named Eilert Rebney, who lived in Lacombe, and he ran Tall Pine TV. And it wasn't very well set up. I remember it was really hard on the fingers, but the rest of our family tried tried to learn it, but they didn't have the persistence that I did, so I kept on going.
One pack of seeds, they used to be a dime. Now each crinkly package is $2.49. $2.49 worth mystery in your hands, and it calls up the smell of the land. I love the dance of the seeds, changing with the seasons, stretching to the music of the sun and rain, swaying to a chorus line sung by the wind. It's the dance of the seeds.
So I carried on from there and took a few lessons and joined a little band when I was in junior high school. Played some of those old rock standards of the day and really enjoyed that. But my dad was not too keen on me pursuing a sort of a band career. So I took a little bit of a veer and worked more on folk tunes, Gordon Lightfoot and some of that Peter Paul Mary and John Denver kind of stuff over the years.
And what decade was this in? This was in the 70s?
Yeah, this is 60s and 70s. That's right.
So that music from that era had a huge influence on you because
Oh,
those,
for sure. Yeah, the Beatles, for example. And I was never much of a Rolling Stones fan, but some of that other softer sort of pop tunes, they always had a big appeal for sure.
so like when did you start to like really dig into music and be like, hey, I can, be successful, or I could have a career, or I could play some shows and gigs and stuff.
Yeah, I never ended up being a professional. I was a school teacher, but probably when I was in college, I got real excited about playing bluegrass, which is a strange thing to sort of come through. But a lot of people call bluegrass folk jazz because there's an awful lot of improvisation that goes on within that.
Totally.
The chord structure is fairly simple, but still, you really have to have a good ear for improvising. I joined a number of sort of weekend dance bands. And so we played, countless times on Fridays and Saturdays out in the East Country or wherever around Central Alberta in the little halls, playing weddings and cabarets and all of that. which was a ton of fun, and they made a bit of money towards their mortgage. But I didn't get super serious until I started taking classical guitar lessons at the college.
So you're a multi-instrumentalist. You play guitar, play mandolin, and you also sing a little bit too. So tell me what that's like to go back and forth between the instruments, and sort of what's similar and what's different, and what it's like to, pick up a new instrument.
Well, I love to watch my baby swing. Dance with her is everything. Hold her, twirl her, that's her scene. She's my swing machine.
You know, to be able to sing and play, a lot of people look at that as being fairly, as a kind of a complex skill, and in a way it is, to accompany yourself on the guitar, especially with swing, because you're busy. There's a lot of chords that you're playing, and so to sing at the same time that's a good challenge for sure.
So you've been mostly based in Red Deer in central Alberta for your whole life, right?
Yeah, virtually. I spent my university career in Edmonton and so on like that, but virtually lived in the central Alberta area the rest of the time.
So with that amount of history in Red Deer, what's it like? What was it like previously? Like, what was it like in the 70s, 80s, 90s? What was the music scene like here?
I think there were a certain number of live music locations, but I think they tended all to be at the bars. Back in that day, the Buffalo. I used to play down at the Buffalo and the Legion and some of these kind of places with our country band.
And of course, the Buffalo was just demolished this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So a little bit of Red Deer history is missing now.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was probably the post-war period. People were really looking to get out and have a good time dancing and so on like that. And so, like my grandfather, like I said, he had his band, and they played, after harvest or after he was finished farming. They'd make a few bucks, literally $5 at the most, probably for each guy for playing an evening of music. But it was like more of a community service, I think, because folks were looking to get over the dirty 30s, and as I mentioned, the war and so on like that. So that sort of history kept, I think, informing the next generations of time until people start to move to the cities, I think. And then that rural connection amongst folks went away, and there wasn't the same sort of connection to get together on a weekend and party and dance or whatever else. And coinciding with that, as far as I was concerned, was the advent of a DJ service. And it was cheap for folks to hire, and a lot of the people weren't. A lot of the audience wasn't particularly dancing anyway, so it was less of a commitment for someone who's having a wedding or a party or whatever. And over time, that really eroded, the live music scene, in my view. Not to take away from DJs, but historically, I think that's a valid point.
So you would say that live music has become more of a commodity and less of like part of our culture and what we do for like our Fridays and Saturdays. It's kind of more like, there might be something we'll go to once a month, but it's not like as important as it used to be.
Yeah, I don't think it's as participatory as it probably once was. Like I was talking about earlier, families getting around the piano and singing, after dinner time and so on like that. That was just something you did for your entertainment. But there's, I think there's a real start of a return towards that. People are recognizing, and maybe they don't understand the physics of why they like getting together and playing with other people, but it is an important thing, and they're realizing that.
One pack of seeds, they used to be a dime. Now each crinkly package is $2.49. $2.49 worth mystery in your hands, and it calls up the smell of the land. I love the dance of the seeds, changing with the seasons, stretching to the music of the sun and rain, swaying to a chorus line sung by the wind. It's the dance of the sea once again.
Over the last number of years, 5 years or something like that, we run a program through the city of Red Deer called Play and Sing for Fun. So we just get however many folks, a dozen or so, and we just play out of kind of a common songbook. And we just go around the circle and pick tunes and, come with probably limited guitar skills, but enough to be able to participate and enjoy the fellowship of playing with other folks. And over time, it's been really gratifying because a lot of those people have continued to meet, and they meet at each other's houses once a week and so on, and then they go out and play at seniors' homes or publicly in a pub or something like that.
This is really interesting. You're talking about like a grassroots community development and how we can get people engaged and then keep people engaged with music. So you've also been involved in developing some other groups, and one of those is the Swingtime All-Stars. So how did that start? Where did you get that idea? And kind of tell me a little bit about that.
I think the Swingtime All-Stars, I think that started because at the old hub downtown Red Deer, they had a venue there that was it was just a really great little spot, and so we just thought that there didn't seem to be a lot of of swing and jazz going on, and it would be fun for the audience. So we brought together some of the known musical jazz celebrities in Red Deer, including Steve Sherman and Steve Tanner and yourself and
Audrey Graham.
And Audrey, yeah, that's right. And it was basically just a jam thing. I think we only rehearsed a couple of times and really only had a couple of gigs before. I think it might have been COVID that kind of nailed the coffin on that. But we're resurrecting it again as a jam program that's going on in some seniors' homes. And it's, I think it's going to be really successful. We're managing to get some funding from some community sponsors, which has been really, really great. Border Paving and a couple of local pharmacies have been able to donate some money. So we're able to hire a rhythm section and let community folks come in so that, if they're maybe aspiring singers or if they're high school students that want to get together in a jazz combo and have never really done that before, then we're going to get a chance to have some cross-generational sort of contact, I think. And, in this style of music, in the jazz and the swing kind of music, seems like there's a certain age group that is participating in that style of music, and we're going to lose that pretty soon, I think, unless we start promoting that among some of the younger people. So that would be one of the goals of the Swingtime All-Star Jam program that yourself and myself have been working on towards. Especially, with swing and jazz and older style of music, if we could get some of the younger college-age kids or high school kids who may be graduating but sticking around the area, going to the college and taking something non-music related, at least if they could continue having a place where they could go and folks that they could continue to learn from, that would be, I think, a big help to our community in general.
Sparks catch the tinder, exploding it in fire, blows like a banshee into a funeral pyre. Run for the river, run while you can, run before the wind, before that fire brand. Call it retribution, triumph for a fireman man. Some say humanity's last stand.
Let's back up a little bit. Tell me about COVID and how that impacted you.
Well, it was very hurtful for sure, because for probably once a month we would have a bluegrass kind of a jam or a swing jam with friends from Edmonton and Calgary. Even they would come here, or I would go there, or whatever. But when that stopped, then to try and get together with folks was obviously very difficult. I, I refit my garage a little bit so that we could get out there, and I made some plastic screens that the singers could get behind, and I'm sure it didn't do a darn bit of good, but we still managed to get out there and nobody got sick, and that was better than nothing. But it was all, for me, that was the time when I started to get into songwriting, because I had, it just seemed like there's nothing else musically that was going to motivate and stimulate me. So there was some online things, and Jeremy Duty, our local guitar hero, he had a songwriting program that he was offering. So I signed up for that, and I was very engaged, and it sort of saved my musical life, I think, being able to do that.
To midnight, choking on the smoke, captured in the peril of the devil's flowing cloak. Run to the river, run while you can. Run before the wind, before that fire brand. Call it retribution, trial by fire for man. Some say humanity's last stand. 3, 4.
For me, I really admire that you've found another avenue to take with your songwriting that kind of kept you going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we're here today, is that you found a way to keep going. I've had to adapt and do new things, and that's kind of brought us together. Tell me a little bit about how Red Deer has changed over the years.
I would say one of the things that really has changed is the lack of the arts program at the college. And I think that was a real boon to our community that is now sadly missed because of the talent of instructors, and of course, because they're also great musicians, they were able to perform in the community and teach, and it just brought I think this our jazz style music more to the fore because of their their expertise. So not having that, and now not really using the college facility in the same way, even the Arts Center theater is not as available to the community, to my understanding. I think that's one sad change.
I was at the college too, and it was a real hub for people. Like, people met there, they rehearsed there, there was concerts. It was a thriving community.
The guys in the band would step up and tell you a joke or something like that. That's what I thought he'd say.
And I feel like a city needs that. They need some kind of central place where people can just meet up and do stuff. And that was the college for Red Deer.
Oh yeah.
And you had young people and old people playing there. So you had the ability to have that generational reach, to bridge that generational gap.
Yeah.
And that's, something that I think is really devastating for a community when we don't have that ability to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're trying to do. We're trying to fill a little bit of that hole there. So tell me, what would you like to see happen in Red Deer over the next year, or like 5 years even? Like, where do you want to see it go from here?
Well, I think it would be really fun if there was a few more live music venues. I mean, I understand that there's a cost to the restaurant owner or the club manager, but it would be great still if there was a possibility of having local people who are striving to be, the best musician they can be, even though they may not be They may not be professionals going on the road, but just having that venue where they can go and play out and continue to expand their skills and bump into other folks, like other songwriters, for example. I had no idea until I started to go down to the Velvet Olive that there's all these other local songwriters. And I think that, if we don't have that, we don't get that cross-fertilization going unless we get people able to get out in public and start playing. I know you've been approaching some of the local high school band teachers to see if there's some young people that want to come and play with the Swing Time All-Star Jam program. And that would be really exciting if we could start to see that happen a little bit more. Because currently we're doing one jam a month, but there's nothing saying that if we had the interest that we could, do that more often, because there's a lot of venues with seniors involved, and that would, I think that would be something that we could do, expand on that and do it more often.
Yeah, honestly, that'd be great if we could get in some younger people who are keen and eager to kind of get involved with the program, who want to play, who want to learn and grow, because it's there for them to kind of tap into, right? It's an open and inclusive environment, safe for people to just be themselves. Tell me how important that is for you to have like a safe and inclusive place for people. Like, what does that mean for the music community?
Well, my wife has always said I'm a bit of an enabler because as much as I like playing music, I get a really big kick out of watching other people enjoying music and finding their musical voice in some way or another. So to me, it's just super important to allow people an opportunity to get together and play whichever genre of music it is they prefer.
Well, and this is probably why we've connected on this level, because I'm also an enabler. That's something that I've been trying to do with the radio community for jazz music, is to give people a platform, then enable them to go out and do stuff. And that's something that I've been really excited to help you with. In a way, I feel like I've helped enable you to do the Swing Time All-Star Jam.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm excited to play that role in this situation to enable more stuff.
Sure. Well, and your organization, Radio Community for Jazz, it offers the opportunity for concerts, which I think is sort of the leading edge of what you need to do to get this music in front of people. And so I think that's really great that you're working towards that. It's fantastic.
When we dance, we're on a cloud, a heavenly place to be. Jiving with my angel girl, she's no fantasy. When she flips her skirt, a rippling wave out.
So Rick, you're a retired school teacher now. You spend a lot of your time teaching and then playing music in your free time, but now you're kind of doing a little push for your music, your musical self. So tell me, where can we see you play next, and sort of what's going on for you?
Well, as I mentioned, I did a lot of songwriting during COVID and since. So I have a couple of genres on the go, and sort of it's a bit awkward to try to make them come together. But nonetheless, I have a little trio that we've started to work on with Jeremy Doody and Carl Stretton, a couple great local musicians. And we played a number of times here this fall, and looking forward to playing a bit at a couple senior homes here in November and December, and again we're playing at the Velvet Olive in January. So yeah, finally taking a risk, I guess, in some ways, to try and put myself out there and be a bit of a performer too, which is I've never wanted to be front and center, but yeah, definitely I'm getting a chance to do that, and it's fun. I like it.
So what's that like, exploring this later in life and like having to learn these new skills and almost kind of like reinvent yourself in a way?
Yeah, in a way, that's true. Yeah. Well, you have you have choices. I think if I didn't have music, I'm not sure if I would just stagnate as a human being and maybe not be enjoying my life as much. And other people find other ways to stimulate themselves in retirement, but this is just a really good fit for me to continue to expand my skills. It's daunting. It's nerve-wracking to to put yourself out there, and that's certainly one of the challenges in the arts in general, is having enough confidence in yourself to put yourself out there regardless of what you think the response of people might be. And we always have that inner critic that isn't really our best friend.
So would you say that music for you right now is a journey of self-exploration?
Yeah, I think it is. It is for sure. But it also continues to be something that I enjoy, nurturing other folks as well. So it's still, music is a few things for me still, yeah.
That was the interview with Rick Moore. We've got some exciting content coming your way with Rick. I'm really excited for what we're doing together, and there's going to be a lot of stuff featured with you and me playing together, and I'm really excited for that coming up.
Thank you, TELUS STORYHIVE. This is a fantastic project. Much appreciated.